Millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I am reporting to you live from Maine, from Portland, Maine. And so I'm sitting here in the hotel lobby, but we still going to get busy. Do me a favor, man, and give me a replay. Give me a replay, gang, if you're in the replay gang. If you kicking it with us on the Millionaire Mind Line, make sure you check in. I want to say good morning to all the entrepreneurs out there. This is a really cool moment for me. I hope it's wonderful for you. We're entering the second quarter, and I personally feel like I'm in a zone, man. Like I feel like I'm getting more done than I normally get done at this time. It just feels really good to me. I hope you I hope you can relate to that. Let us know where you're checking in from, please. Call in if you're tuning in. Excuse me. Maybe you're tuning in from Facebook. Maybe you're tuning in from YouTube. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the shares. We're gonna get this thing started. Let them know where you're from. Let them know where you're from. Good morning, Allie. Allie here bright and early. I love it. Good morning, Miss Nichols. I see we starting to check in. Josie's in the house. Good morning, Queen. Let them know we here. Make sure you share the page. We're gonna get this party started. Second quarter is about to be insane, Allie. You ain't lying. I'm super excited about what we got planned. I'm super excited about the fact that we could do whatever we want to do just because we decide to do it. I'm loving being an entrepreneur. How y'all feeling out there? How was your weekend? Yeah. Good morning, Charity. Good morning, Queen. Hope everybody's feeling incredible this morning. Yeah, let them know what city you checking in from. We got Austin, Texas in the house. I'm loving that. For those that don't know, we're broadcasting from YouTube. We're broadcasting from the Millionaire Minded Facebook page. We're in our group Entrepreneurship. How many of you have joined Entrepreneurship? That's an incredible Facebook group that is all about entrepreneurs helping other entrepreneurs. You gotta love it. Okay, I hear him checking in on the Millionaire Minded line, y'all. We about to have a ball. Yeah, Jamal, let him know. Make sure you share the broadcast, y'all. Good morning, millionaires. Man, I'm kind of thrown off this morning because I forgot to tag us in a couple different places that I normally tag us, but I'm counting on y'all to hold me down, right? Hey, Crystal checking in from YouTube. We feeling that. If I could get more people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be amazing. I'm putting the link there in the comments for anybody that wants to. There's the link if anybody wants to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be really helpful because we're growing this thing. We're getting started in about 3 minutes, y'all. We're getting started in about 3 minutes, so make sure you get people started. Appreciate that, Jamal. Coach Flono in the house. Yeah, appreciate that. Atlanta's definitely in the building. Yeah, appreciate that. I'm doing good, Joseph. Good morning, millionaire. We getting started in about 2 minutes, everybody. Make sure you share this thing to somebody you love. Make sure you let an entrepreneur out there who is trying to fight for it. Make sure you let them know we in the building. Yeah, Taisha in the house. Taisha's in the house. Javon. Okay, we got a realtor checking out. You know we love the realtors around here. Because what's our goal, y'all? What's our goal? Close the wealth gap by closing the ownership gap. Yeah, great seeing you too, bro. Straight up. We're getting started in less than 60 seconds, y'all. Text message somebody that we're here. Text message somebody, let them know we're in the building. We're getting started in less than 60 seconds, everybody. Less than 60 seconds. All right. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in the house. Miss Linda Kidd. Good morning, millionaire. Good morning, millionaire. All right, we're getting started in a couple minutes here. Right on, right on. I'm coming up on 7:30 right now. Coming up on 7:30. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, y'all. Looks like it's time for us to get this party started. Check it out. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. If you're just not checking in, you know, the reason I had the music all blasting and all of the stuff that we normally do as we start this party is I'm in a hotel lobby right now. But you know us, no excuses, right? The whole play is we're going to get it done regardless because we're committed. And this morning, that's what I wanted to talk about because we're going into the second quarter of the year. As you're watching this live, you may be watching on YouTube years from now. But as I come to you live this morning, we're about to start the second quarter of 2021 already. You know, my uncle once shared with me this idea that a lot of people don't understand. It's not that as you get it's not your imagination that as you get older, time starts going a lot faster. You got to think about it. When a baby is 1 day old, that second day is like half their life. So just imagine how long that feels, right? You're learning everything for the first time. Everything is brand new. There's all kinds of stimulation everywhere you look because you're new to this thing, right? But the whole thing as you get older, man, is time starts to go quicker because each day is just a smaller sliver of your life. You've got so much on your mind at this point, right? And so you look up and it's April and it feels like it was 2019 yesterday, like, or last week, or maybe it was a month ago, right? But it ain't. It's April of 2021. And that's a beautiful thing because with the power of commitment, you can create a life where day by day, inch by inch, you find yourself skyrocketing past your goals. You find yourself skyrocketing past your competition. You find yourself skyrocketing past your counterparts just because of the fact that you realize success doesn't happen in a day. Success happens daily. Millionaires, when you're trying to reach a goal, it is amazing how much your emotions play into this thing. And over the last 7 years, I've been studying the world class. Many of you know every Wednesday we do Obsessive Success, or every morning we do Good Morning Millionaire. I'm constantly studying the world class. Sometimes they may be world leaders, sometimes they might be world class entrepreneurs, but it is amazing how many times you see the same exact mindset show up. But then when you're talking to your family and friends, when you're talking to normal people, you're talking to people that just seem to kind of like drift along and just blow in the wind, they all seem to have really similar mindsets too. But I'm like, which one are we going to study? Well, the answer is both. Now, we're going to study some because they're a warning, but we're going to study some because they're an example. Does that make sense? We're going to study some because they're an example. And when you begin studying the ones that are an example, what's surprising, or maybe it's not surprising to you, is how often you hear the same exact principles, how often you hear this stuff repeated, how often they say the same exact formula was critical to them achieving what they eventually were able to be celebrated for. There's a reason that these people are celebrated for these certain activities. It was their mindset. And so without further ado, I want to give you 5 things that I see show up every single time you're talking about somebody who's millionaire minded. You know, I'm blessed and fortunate to have gone from homeless to millionaire in like about 7-8 years, right? And it almost seems weird because it feels so natural now, but it's because I was already here mentally. I was already doing a lot of the things that I'm doing now when you know, my mama's so proud of me and all of that. I'm going to give you these 5 things, y'all. But the reason that I gave you so much preamble is because I want you to judge yourself. I really want you to analyze yourself. I want you to be critical of the way you look at yourself in these 5 areas. What is your philosophy as it relates to not just what you're going to say, but how it shows up in your behavior? My mentor, Mr. Les Brown, said something amazing, and it changed the way I looked at all of this. He was like, the way that you want it, what you want, desire shows up in conversation, but belief shows up in behavior. Somebody hear me out there? It's belief that shows up in behavior. All right, here's the first one, y'all. Y'all ready for number one? Give me a number one and a share. Give me a number one and a share. Give me a number one and a share. I don't think you realize how much Facebook, YouTube, they rely on you liking it, on you, throwing comments and you sharing. I didn't know this, and that's why I've never been on, I do it because it's fun to engage. But now what they're teaching me is that if your people aren't liking it, commenting and sharing, then it's almost like you might be forcing them to be there. Or Facebook just don't like that. YouTube don't like that. So if you want to really support, then we need you to like, comment, and share. Is that fair? Is that fair? So if you're ready for number one, help your boy out. Appreciate that, y'all. Appreciate that. All right, here's number one. Be persistent. Be persistent. Appreciate that, YouTube. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Here's number one. Be persistent, y'all. Be persistent. Cardi B says a lot of things that are horrible. Do y'all know Cardi B? Anyway, she has this one line where she's like, I fall down 9 times, but I get up 10. She got that from this Japanese proverb that says, you fall 7, you rise 8. I want you to think about this, y'all. How persistent are you? I'll give yourself a score on that in the comments. Let us all see it. We're going to hold you accountable. 10 is I am incredible, right? And 1 is I am horrible, right? What score do you give yourself on persistence? Because you got to be real with yourself and admit the fact that failures, obstacles, setbacks, they're inevitable. They're going to happen. Just the fact that you're going for greatness means you're doing something nobody else ever did, which meant that some people found it challenging. Some people found it kind of like, think about it. If you're the first one in your family to go to college, it's going to take a little persistence. It ain't like you got somebody around you showing you the ropes, right? It ain't like, and even if you do it, it's not like you have examples. When you talk about the people that are around you that have your same bloodline, if you're the first, then you're the first. I want you to think about that. Millionaires, you're going to get some failure in the course of moving forward. But how persistent are you? What do you give yourself on persistence? Scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being you're the best at it. You're the most persistent person you know, right? What do you give yourself scale of 1 to 10? Do you realize how failure gives you all these clues to the stuff that you don't know? And failure gives you all of these clues about the stuff that you need to kind of be working on. Failure gives you where you need to adjust like you can't get from any other kind of stimuli. So if we understand that, why would failure scare us? Why would failure scare us? Think about it. But that's what it does in this world, y'all. Failure, the idea of failure prevents people from even trying. I was talking about it last night. I don't know how many of y'all tuned in to a Sunday night mentorship call, but it's an incredible way to start your week. And last night I was talking about how some of us are so scared of the feeling of disappointment that we end up creating a life that becomes a disappointment. Think about that. Think about that. The millionaire-minded commit themselves to not giving up, even though they're thinking in advance it's going to be the hardest thing they've ever done. Do you realize you getting rich is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done? Do you realize that? Are you looking at it like, of course it's going to get a little bit strenuous, but that's what excites me? If it were easy, everybody would have it, but nobody would want it. Are you really thinking about this? How persistent are you? Angela Duckworth, she's the one that gave us this whole contemporary idea of fixed mindset versus growth mindset. But ironically and interestingly, and maybe even you'll find this fascinating, that's not what she termed her whole training. Her whole idea is this concept of grit. Grit, you know, number one is perseverance, right? Grit. And the thing about grit is that it depends on a different kind of hope, right? It rests on the expectation that our own efforts can improve our life, that our efforts can improve our future. That's growth mindset in a nutshell, that I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be different. I hope that you have some hope. And I hope that your hope is resting not on the other people liking you or doing something nice for you, even though just setting the goal will make that start to happen. Just committing to the goal will make that start to fall into place. That's a fact. But I'm talking about real power is coming from the idea that it's going to be better tomorrow because I can't help but learn. If I just hurry up and get cracking today, then that action is going to lead to satisfaction. That action is going to lead to improvement. That action is going to lead to fulfillment. And it's going to come through the door of mistakes and what other people call failure. If you're ready for number two, give me a number two and a share. Perseverance. Like, I dare you look at your goals from January, especially if you're giving yourself a really high score on perseverance. And I dare you ask yourself, what are you doing daily to get there? There's a difference between being patient and being stagnant. There's a difference between having perseverance and procrastination. If you're ready for number two, give me a number two and a share. Give me a number two and a share. You better talk that talk, Taisha. That's a fact. If it was easy, everybody would have it and nobody would want it. That's from my man E1. We're not on Clubhouse this morning because, like I said, I'm in a hotel lobby. But if you're still with us, give us a number two and a share. Give us a number two and a share. Here's the second one, y'all. I found this through every millionaire-minded person that I ever studied, and you're going to find it the same way, too. If you look into it, it's going to be uncanny how many times this shows up, y'all. You got to commit to hanging out with the right people. You got to commit to hanging out with the right people. You got to commit, y'all, to hanging out with the right people. I'm not lying to you. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they start off on some new challenge, when they start off on a new trek, when they start a new adventure, is they try to start out alone. Millionaires, if you want to go fast, then go by yourself. But you ever heard the expression, you going nowhere fast? Or you ever thought about that metaphor of people treadmilling? They just running so fast, but they staying in place. Check it out. That's because if you want to go fast, even if you're going nowhere fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, right? If where you're trying to go seems hella far from where you are now, when you look off in the distance, it scares you almost because you're like, my God, how am I even going to get there? What you need to do is hang out with the right people. Scientific data has proven this, y'all. There was this one study I was reading about Olympic swimmers. And I mean, if you can imagine, swimming is you against the water, right? This dude spent years studying swimmers and Olympic swimmers where you're at the top of your game physically. So it's pretty much all mental. And one of his observations on how you achieve greatness as a swimmer is you hang out with other great swimmers. You join a great swim team. The real way to become a great swimmer is to join a great team. Think about that. It's to be around people who are going to push you farther. Sometimes, man, I just watch sports documentaries just because I look at them as peak performance specialists. If y'all really want to get your leadership together, watch the Last Dance documentary from Michael Jordan. It's on Netflix. They put it together on Michael Jordan and they juxtaposed their last championship season against the ones from the past. Because, you know, they did a three-peat of a three-peat. They did a three-peat 3 times. You know what I mean? Who does that? And so you got to study that Last Dance joint, because what you're going to see is that Michael Jordan would lead from the front. And I want to ask you, where are you scale of 1 to 10 on hanging out with the right people. And then I want you to think about this. Where are you on being the right person that other people need to hang out with? Let me see a score and a share. Instead of giving me a number 3, I know number 3 is next. Let me see a score. What do you give yourself on your commitment to hang out with the right people? Oh, we can get deep into this, y'all. We can be creating lists of the right people and making sure when you buy that book you like, you buy 8 copies because you're sending them out to other people you love. Am I right, Dennis? Am I right, Mahasan? Mama Mahasan's in the house. Am I right, Baba Yoga? I know he out there somewhere. Am I right, Didi? What if we built a list of the right people and then we did what it took to become more valuable to them? You know, I always teach the 5 words you need to use when you need help from anybody on the planet. It goes like this: how can I help you? Ain't that crazy? Isn't it insane that the way that you get help is by helping somebody else? Man, I find that amazing. Where do you give yourself on that? Hanging out with the right people. How many millionaires do you hang out with? Do you call for advice? How many happily married people do you hang out with? You and your lady hanging out with more married people, does that make you stronger or weaker? You and your lady, you hanging out with more single people, your lady hanging out with more single people. How does that feel? How does that feel? Are you hanging out with the right people? Give me a scale of 1 to 10. Oh, you say you want to get good at being a landscaper. How many good landscapers are you hanging out with? You say you want to be good at financial literacy. How much of your day is spent talking to people who have strong financial literacy? How much of your day is spent listening to their broadcasts, their podcasts, reading their books, listening to their books? How much of your day is you hanging out with the right people, either in physical form or in the mental space where you're getting familiar with them? Millionaires, you got to surround yourself with people who are going to help you be great. Sometimes that means you need to hire a coach. Sometimes that means you need to join a mastermind group. Sometimes that means you need to join some kind of network marketing company, a home-based business. If you need one, I know an incredible one, but I bet you a bunch of y'all do too. My point is, I don't care what you do, but you need to either change your friends or change your friends. And sometimes it starts with being the change you want to see, but I'm gonna be honest, sometimes it starts with getting around these people and being of service. Do you hear me? If you're ready for number 3, I hope you are, because we're running out of time. Here's number 3. Do the work. Do the work, y'all. Do the work. Where do you score yourself on doing the work? Oh, it's so fun to talk about the work, baby. It's so fun to talk about our dreams. Oh man, people spend countless time dreaming, don't they? Ain't it fun to tell everybody what you're gonna do and what you man, it would be nice if, right? I should do this. What if you stop shoulding all over yourself and you do the work? What if you turn your shoulds into musts? Because you never do what you should do. You always do what you must do. Isn't that amazing? And people spend countless time wasting time, right? They love dreaming. They love dreaming about success. Man, I'm going to tell you something. You know, some people don't even love dreaming about success. When we do our visualization exercises, you'll look at the statistics and certain people fall off every morning on the call when it's time to do the affirmations, when it's time to do the visualization. You know what I mean? Isn't that crazy? But what I'm saying is a lot of people love to dream about it. But what are you doing to make it a reality? You say you persevere, but are you persevering through this job you hate? Or are you persevering with turning your vision into a reality? Like, are you doing the work? Do it when you're motivated. But are you doing it when you're not? Huh? Are you doing it even when you can't see visible progress? Are you doing it even when it ain't convenient? Gary Vaynerchuk got this saying he always says. I don't know how many of y'all know Gary V, but he's like this hella he's an incredible marketing guy. Started off in a basement, took over his parents' business with this wine thing. But he has this philosophy he teaches called one is better than zero. Can I get that in the comments? One is better than zero, and a share if you agree with that. I want you to score yourself on how much of the work am I doing. I'm not talking about the busy work. I'm talking about the productive work. How much of you is dedicated to doing the work? Because you understand that you're doing the work when you actually jump into that zone, cut off your phone, cut off the television. Now we're working from home, so we're completely jacked up. But when you're doing the work, when you're literally laying out that list. When is the last time you took a day? I know we got a lot of MLMers out there and home-based business owners, right? When's the last time you took a day, really wrote out this list of 25 people and didn't stop calling till you talk to each one? That's doing the work. You can't do but so many days like that without your bank account changing. But what'll happen is you'll forget at the level you're at what it took to get you there. You'll forget how hard you used to work. You'll start to coast. You'll start to look fancy yourself, somebody who's now made it. You ain't made it unless you've decided you've made it. And then you might as well quit. But I know all the millionaire minded that I know are focused on the idea that one is better than zero. What does that mean? It's the patience and it's the willingness for you to sit there and do 500 conversations, knowing that all of them ain't going to turn into something, right? 500 conference calls, 500 meetings, 500 meetings at Starbucks that never turn into nothing. Are you willing to do that 500 times, 1,000 times before anybody even notices that you're alive? Listen, man, it's called doing the work. This morning, I'd have loved to just stay in bed. We were up late. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't. Me and my brother, brought our sons up the road. We just rented a car and just drove up the coast, right? That's how we find ourselves at the northeasternmost tip of the country. You know what I mean? But listen, I'd have loved to just stay in bed this morning, but I'm committed to doing the work. But you have to understand, it ain't because I love growing my business. It's because I love my mission. It's because I love this cause we have of extending the life expectancy of the entrepreneur. Millionaires, do you love what you do enough to do the parts you don't love? Here's number 4, y'all. Be self-aware. Be self-aware. We're running out of time, so I'm going to hurry up, man. But check it out. You have to know what your strengths are, and you have to know how you can leverage them. If you're going to really accelerate out here, you have to be able to understand where you're weak. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs out there that you'll study stagnated and ran in place until they bumped into this other person that was strong where they were weak. Bill Gates was not a computer. Listen, if it wasn't for Paul Allen, right? Michael Jordan, if it wasn't for Scottie Pippen, right? Listen, are you aware enough to find your Scottie Pippen? Because you could be a Jordan that's playing the wrong position. Can you imagine? Can you imagine Michael Jordan being at center? That's stupid, right? But a lot of us are playing point guard, forward, center. You hear what I mean? Because we're not self-aware. What you have to do is know your weaker areas so you can figure out how to prevent them from holding you back. The reason I brought up us being entrepreneurs and not artists is because if you're going to be millionaire minded, it's not just about you loving to cook and thinking that's enough to run a restaurant. That's my favorite example because they say restaurants are the hardest businesses to run, right? And what I'm saying is so many people are good at cooking. So many people cook every single day, right? But the whole idea here is that when you become self-aware, you realize if you're going to run a restaurant, you need somebody that's able to do the sales. You need somebody that's able to run the finances. You need somebody that's good at picking locations. What about designing a menu? Where are you good and where are you bad? And how aware are you of it? Because surely you're not good at everything. Once you realize that, you're more self-aware. Scale of 1 to 10. How many of you have taken an honest inventory of your skills and then made a plan on how to improve those skills or to get help where you need to strengthen that skill set? 1 to 10, and then give me a share. Give yourself a score. 1 to 10, and then give me a share. Give yourself a score. It's your own personal record. One day you'll look back on this, you'll see your score, and you'll say, dang, I'm getting much better. I'm getting much better. Back in March, I felt this way, right? Back in 2021, I felt this way. Here's the fifth one I got for you on that exact note, y'all. We got to get to a place where we're looking to learn constantly. We have to get to a place where we're looking to learn constantly. That's the fifth commitment that I see in every millionaire minded man. Please hear me on this. The reason that we think it's so important that you be here every single day, y'all, the reason that we think it's so dope that you take time out 7:30 a.m. every morning and that you like, comment, and share so that we can spread this stuff around the way we spread all of this negativity. Millionaires, is because growth is learning. As long as you keep learning, you're young. Once you've done, man, I was listening to this Indian guru the other day on this, and he said something that blew my mind, y'all. He was like, every time you reach a conclusion, it's a little death. It's a little mini death. Every time you're so sure and you're so you listen to that word conclusion. That's the end. Something is concluded. Millionaires. What's interesting about that is that the more you know, the more you don't know. I can't tell you how many Instagram philosophers will throw something out there. Like the other day, y'all remember when we were talking about how everybody says comfort zone is bad? I know what they're trying to say, but the more you know, the more you know you don't know. And so, comfort zone can also be good, for instance, right? Because it's comfort zone that pulls you back up into having a job and a place to live when you find yourself homeless. Like, X amount, I mean, some huge percentage of millionaires. I don't want to say the wrong statistic, but it would blow your mind how many millionaires have been homeless before, right? But it's comfort zone that says, this ain't me. This ain't how I roll. And it's comfort zone that pulls you back up into your rightful station in life. So how is comfort zone always bad? Comfort zone is horrible, though, when you're trying to reach for the next level, because that same power, that same gravity that sucked you back into your rightful station is the same gravity that will keep you in place when somebody presents you with something where you can make 50,000 a month instead of 50,000 a year, right? But see, you're not going to figure that out if you draw the conclusion, oh, comfort zone is bad. Do you get what I'm saying? Am I making sense to somebody out there? Being millionaire minded is about the idea that you don't know what you don't know, but you're willing to dig in and do the work. You're willing to dig in and do some critical thinking. You're willing to gain an understanding of the areas where you can improve. Sometimes that means learning stuff that's outside your skill set. Sometimes that means shutting your mouth and accepting a new idea and contemplating it before you begin parroting back the same old recording. Millionaires, you can have 400 degrees, right? You can have, just power of purpose behind you in every single way. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't learn the market, it doesn't even matter. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe there are things you should be looking to learn and add to your skill set. Maybe you should treat this as more of a less of a frivolous undertaking and something that deserves the full fervor and passion that you can muster. Millionaires, everybody who has anything that we don't have, it's just because they know something we don't know. Is that a fact? So never stop learning. Give yourself scale of 1 to 10, right? Give yourself scale of 1 to 10 on your commitment to learn something new every single day and apply something that you learned already every single day. Because that's the real learning. The only proof of learning is a change in your course of action. So if you learn something this morning, give yourself a score. Give yourself a score, 1 to 10. If you learned something this morning, we about to go do our affirmations. I hope that feels good to you, because that's how we do it in the mornings. If y'all want to call in, you can, right? If y'all want to call in, you can. Millionaires, all I'm saying is the millionaire minded, right? They've made a commitment, and they've added unto their philosophy that they're gonna learn not just through trial and error, but through trial and measure. It's the scientific method. You present a hypothesis and then you test it. Millionaires, I want you to really consider and test the idea that if you take on the commitments of the wealthy, then you can take on their lifestyle. I love y'all. Repeat after me. I am so happy and grateful